Hey, Prime members! Have you heard? You can listen to your favorite podcasts ad-free? Good news! With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free-podcast. That's amazon.com/ad-free-podcast to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
Oh, coffee, blessed be, do your work.
Grumpy Old Geeks, a weekly talk show hosted by Brian Schulmeister and Jason DeFilippo, discussing the finer points of what went wrong on the internet and who's to blame.
Welcome to Grumpy Old Geeks. I'm Jason DeFilippo.
And I'm Brian Schulmeister, and I am back in Canada land, Jason.
Ooh, good for you.
Yeah,
I think. You like it up there.
Yeah, well, winter is coming, but all that.
Yeah, but ketchup chips and maple cookies. Come on.
I don't like ketchup chips.
Oh,
they're disgusting. But everybody else in this family likes them. So
whatever. I love
them. Yeah, in retrospect, 4 or 5 months ago when we decided to schedule like every doctor's appointment known to man this first week that we were back because kids' school starts next week, not a good idea.
Oh.
I'm so exhausted and there's piles of crap everywhere and we're just running around like crazy. There's been a bit of discussion recently about healthcare in our Discord, and I'm not going to weigh into that debate right now of Canada versus US, but I do want to point out one thing that is the same no matter what country you're in: the complete inefficiency and cluster fuckery of government construction.
Okay. How does that tie into healthcare?
Well, the debate was between Canadian and socialist healthcare systems versus the US and all that sort of thing. But one thing that is the same is this construction process. If you recall, Jason, before I even left Canada, and I was gone for over a month, they are working on our street. They had replaced our sidewalks and the curbs and all that sort of thing. Oh, and we figured, okay, well, we're going to be gone for a month. Surely they will have the street done in that time.
Don't call me Shirley.
They hadn't even started.
Oh, my God.
Not a bit of work until yesterday. And, of course, today it's one of those things where we have the car parked outside just because it's quick and easy to get going. 9:30, some guy rolls up, knocks on my door and says, your car needs to be gone within the next 15 minutes. I'm like, if we had normal jobs, none of us would be here. Why couldn't you have told us yesterday when we were all walking around and you had people up and down the street? It's just a mess. Anyway, so if there's loud noise today, it's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah. Well, it's 6:30 in the morning here on Garbage Day because of your kids' aforementioned healthcare visit. So it is 6:30 a.m. here in lovely Los Angeles, which is Garbage Day. And so there might be some banging around here too. But it's 6:30 in the morning. And for me, I always wake up with some song stuck in my head. I get an earworm every day. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. And today it was the theme song from the Monkees.
Hey, we're the Monkees. That one?
Okay. Yep, that's the one. Couldn't get rid of it. And the Monkees had some bangers, man. They were a good band. I mean, a great band in my opinion. So then I got Last Train to Clarksville stuck in my head, and then I just started to think about. There's a note in here about us being old, and we'll get to that shortly. And I was just thinking about, man, I remember when just to date us. I remember when we found out about new music from Dead Tree magazines that would come out once a month, and thinking about kids nowadays and how they find new music. Oh, it's just pushed directly to their ear holes from AI notifications from their, bots that run the internet and the TikToks and all that shit. Like, we had to wait a month just to see pictures of a band we couldn't listen to.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot to be said about the mystery. I definitely think that was a big part of it. Like, I love all that stuff. And man, Select Magazine, Q Magazine, all the English magazines that I would have to find at the import newsstand agents that you could find somewhere. Occasionally Barnes & Noble would have them, and I'd remember that and go back to that Barnes & Noble all the time. I'm sure you're familiar with this place, the newsstand over in Beverly Drive. We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Hey, don't forget that secret stash of Tiger Beats you used to keep under your bed.
That was my sister.
I'm sure you peeked.
Well, got to see what the kids are up to even then.
Yep. Yeah. So I put a Monkeys playlist in the show notes over at Spotify if you want to go get your nostalgia on.
All right.
And I'm a believer in Last Train to Clarksville. If you don't know who the Monkeys are, start with those two. They're great songs.
You know, to tie this into sci-fi geekery, that Chekhov's character was based on Davy Jones. The look.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the reason they actually cast him and put him into the show was to catch the young monkeys loving crowd.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. Chekhov. He's still around. He's still around.
Yes, he is.
All right. We got some Waymo follow-up from friend of the show, Chen. Mm-hmm. So she was, I'm going to read this verbatim. She texted me the other day. Was just listening to GOG and heard something about Waymo. I've taken it maybe 5 times already with different friends and fam visiting SF. All 5 rides were surprisingly smooth, gentle on the brakes, and were able to respond to unexpected cars and peds very well. Very impressed, I must say. They are everywhere in SF now, like 1 in every 7 cars in the city. I had no idea, Brian, that they were that ubiquitous. That's crazy. They cost a little more than Lyft and Uber, but not by much. Still, seeing a car drive by itself is freaky as fuck for sure.
Now, to be fair, there has been a great exodus of San Francisco. So
that's true. That's true.
A lot of the normal traffic is long gone.
Yes. She continues, I was very scared during my first ride, then really got used to it afterwards. David was super impressed too. David being Dr. Teeter, friend of the show and previous guest. Mm-hmm. People who ride it regularly say they enjoy not having to interact with the driver. Oh, yeah. It lets you pick music too. Would love for you to try it when you're in town. Oh, and you get to ride in the front too. So now I totally didn't even think about the introvert aspect of the fact that there is no driver that you have to talk to. I'm like, sign me up right now.
This is why I am desperately waiting for my robot hairdresser.
Ah, yes. Oh, God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If I have to listen to one more hairdresser tell me that they love Joe Rogan after they find out I'm a podcaster.
Well, don't tell them anything, Jason.
I don't have anything else to say because I don't do anything else. So she says, once the car shows up, you unlock the door with your phone, and the entire experience, at least for my 5 rides, was pretty seamless. So I asked her what the turnaround time was from the call to the pickup, and she says it's relatively quick, and they have recently added more cars to San Francisco too. But before, one needed to be on the waiting list for Waymo. Now you can just download the app and hail the ride right away. And I did see this morning in my news feeds that they are testing Waymos on the highways in San Francisco. So she said she still can't go any more than 5 miles from, where she's going to go because it's still kind of trippy. But they're testing it with employees right now. So, I think San Francisco might actually be the perfect place just because of, as you mentioned, Brian, the aforementioned exodus.
Yeah. Yeah. There's especially downtown. Like downtown's a ghost town. Perfect place to try test these things out.
Yeah.
On their employees.
I'm sure. And I'm sure the Waymos have man poo detection.
Yeah. Well, definitely. Just be careful.
Yeah. I'm going to try one when I get to San Francisco, or not San Francisco, because I don't know when I'll get to San Francisco, but they have them in Santa Monica now. So I might, next time I'm over there, I might try one just for shits and giggles, Yeah. What's the worst? They could drive me into the ocean.
Yeah. Well, it cleans off the man poo from the tires.
It definitely does. And there is man poo in Santa Monica. And I have seen the Mythbusters episode of how to get out of a car that goes into the water. So I should be okay.
You're fine.
Maybe. Now, here's something that's not being covered in the news, and I don't know if I know I wasn't hallucinating, but I came out of my office the other day, and cruising down Ventura Boulevard was an LAPD fucking Cybertruck.
I'm not surprised.
But it's not in the news anywhere.
Right.
LAPD has not acknowledged it. There's no pictures of it anywhere. And then I got to thinking, maybe, just maybe, it was a movie prop. Because there's an abandoned mall right up the street from me, and that's where they film a shit ton of the TV show SWAT. So they may have dolled one up for SWAT, I think. That is the only thing that I could think of because it is nowhere in the news. But this was straight up an LAPD Cybertruck. My jaw hit the floor, and I couldn't get my phone out fast enough to get a picture. I was so bummed. I'd have had a scoop, Brian, a scoop.
Right, a scoop.
Yep. Just one quick thing on the Cybertruck. Burglars now discover that you can peel the Cybertruck windows just to get in the inside without setting off the alarm. I saw this video and my jaw dropped.
Seems like a bit of an oversight.
A little bit, especially since they claim that those windows are just, bomb-proof.
Well,
you can drop a JDAM on the Cybertruck. And
They stop bullets, but you can peel them off. Actually, handy if you're in a firefight because you can just peel off the thing and then use it as a shield as you try to get to a different location.
That's true. That's true. It is mobile.
It's a feature, not a bug, Jason.
Yeah. This guy just cracked the window, which shattered it, because it's tempered glass. And then he just literally peeled it down, jumped in and grabbed the backpack that was in the passenger seat. So I have to say to all my Cybertruck listeners out there, always keep your junk in the frunk.
Fair.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. And Tesla is back in the news because they have deleted all their blog posts from previously to 2019. Apparently, the Warner Brothers Let's Delete Everything bug has caught them too. This includes a blog post from 2016 stating that all Tesla cars being produced had full self-driving hardware. So they're just basically they're trying to bury the bodies and cover up the evidence at this point. I don't think that they anticipated we have this thing called the Wayback Machine.
Well, what do you think Elon's purchasing next, Jason?
That's true. I could be buying the Wayback Machine. Archive.org is next. Yeah. But don't tell them you can actually get your website out of the Wayback Machine by just putting in a simple robots.txt exclusion. They actually do that, which pisses me off because all my old sites that got bought by domain squatters use the robots.txt file. And so I can't get to any of the old stuff from Spew. You can't get to any of it because now that there's a site, now that there's a robots file on there now, even though there wasn't one then, they go with what is there now, which really just bums me out.
Don't you have an archive on a CD somewhere that probably won't work anymore?
See, that's the problem. I did have a bunch of archives and the CDs failed. Then I got whatever I had, I put into some tar balls and backed those up. And then when I tried to untar them, half of them came back with nothing in them. So
I might have a copy of my stuff from Spew on a zip drive somewhere.
Yeah, maybe a
zip disk. You got to find a drive.
Yeah, I did have some SideQuests back in the day with some Spew stuff on them, but I do have your stuff actually if you ever want to read it, which I don't recommend.
Probably not.
No, I read some of my stuff from back then too, and it's like, oh God, that's right. I was in my early 20s. You don't want to read that stuff. Can run it through ChatGPT and make it better. One quick note I had on the Riverside affiliate program. This has pissed me off so much this week. Riverside is the technology that we use to record this program. Mm-hmm. And since 2021, I've been a Riverside affiliate. And so I send people their way. Not many, which will become very apparent right now. Turns out they got a notice of like, hey, you got another affiliate payout for $22. Mm-hmm. So they're like, go check your dashboard. And I'm like, okay. I just assumed that they would PayPal me the money like they've been doing forever. So I click on the dashboard and it turns out they've never PayPal'd me a cent because there's a minimum $200 payout on their affiliate marketing program, which is unheard of.
Yes.
I mean, most of them you have a slider you can set so you don't get multiple payouts if you're getting a lot of volume, $25, $50, $100. Never seen $200 in that pull down. And I've never had an affiliate program keep my money for more than one calendar year. They always pay out by the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, usually you want it off the books.
Nope. These guys have kept my cash since 2021. So they owe me $115.20, which I desperately need. So I just got in touch with the Riverside affiliate program, and they're run by a third-party company. And they say, hey, ho, 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 it's not up to us. Why don't you talk to Riverside? Mm-hmm. So I sent it over to Riverside, and Riverside just sent me back a blog post that said, hey, here's the terms. You have to reach a minimum of $200. And there's no date on that post, by the way. So I don't know if that was there in the beginning or not. I may have missed it, which would have been on me, but I let them know. I'm like, you know what? This is a really stupid fucking policy. And you guys want to change your payout thresholds. And they're like, yeah, we'll think about it.
Poop emoji.
Have a nice day. Have a nice day. So if you're going to sign up for any affiliate programs, make sure you read the fine print, or you could be stuck with them having your money for quite some time.
Yeah, it's like working for the music industry.
Yeah. Shit.
I'll gladly pay you 25 years from now for work done today.
Yep. It's funny. My roommate has a call with a royalty extraction specialist who goes out and finds owed royalties from artists who have had legacy music.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. We've got some friends who have got some money stashed away that the labels won't give them. So how timely of that, Brian?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to follow up a little bit more on our t-shirt experiment, which is coming very soon because I finally cracked all of the codes to make a t-shirt store, which actually is not as easy as you'd think it would be, Brian.
No, it does get complicated, doesn't it?
Extremely fucking complicated. So I have my first shirt store is online. It's at soberoutfitters.com. You can get some clever shirts about recovery if you're into those sorts of things, which I highly recommend it if you are, because there's some bangers for your next meeting in there. Highly recommend go checking those out and picking up a shirt from me. I could really use it since Riverside isn't paying me anymore.
Did you check the threshold on the payouts for this?
Yes,
store?
I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did. I've actually I sold 4 shirts already, and I got paid out in 72 hours.
Nice. Okay.
Yep. So that brings us to the point, Brian, that hopefully by the next episode, we should have a shirt store up.
Oh, right. Great.
Yeah. Now that I've cracked the code and I can do this without the 3 weeks and 4 weeks of sitting there going back and forth between Printful and Shopify and all the other shit that I have to go back and forth with.
Yeah.
But now that I got it down, it's actually really fun making shirts. I'm enjoying it.
Not terribly profitable, but fun. Yes.
No. Yeah. And I use a design tool for some of them called Kittl, KITTL.com. Brian, this thing is amazing. It is all web-based, all vector-based, and it is like, you just got to see it to believe it. It was created by the people who made Heritage Type.
Okay.
Typography company. And I saw it a long time ago and I'm just like, oh, this is just, this isn't for me. And then it has been growing since then. And I went back and checked it out because I was trying to find one of the fonts that I bought from them and I had a trial going. So I just tried it. And I was just like, holy shit, you can do the whole process there. It's great. Right. They've got templates for creating shirts from all of the different print on demand services. So you just pick your template and then just start dragging shit around, hit export and boom, Bob's your uncle. It's great.
Excellent. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. I'll put a link in the show notes.
All right. Well, go buy some shirts, everybody. And Mark wrote in, sigh. There are not many days that I feel old. Hearing that Lucas was turning 8 was one of those. Considering that I started listening before Jason moved to Chicago, I wouldn't say which time.
At which time.
and when you started talking about some of my favorite places in Santa Monica, I've been listening and supporting for a while. The realization of life's passing was a shock. Regardless, thank you for the many, many years of joy. This was mirrored a bit on our Discord as well. People talking about, oh my God, how is Brian's kid 8 years old already? You think you guys are shocked? Try being me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just saying.
I was talking to my dad on my birthday this year and I turned 53. And I'm like, God, I can't believe I'm 53. And he's like, you can't believe you're 53. I can't believe I have a 53-year-old son. So. This episode is sponsored by 1Password Extended Access Management. Imagine your company's security like the quad of a college campus. There are nice brick paths between the buildings. Those are the company-owned devices, IT-approved apps, and managed employee identities. And then there are the paths people actually use, the shortcuts worn through the grass that are the actual straightest line from point A to point B. These are unmanaged devices, shadow IT apps, and non-employee identities like contractors. Most security tools only work on those happy brick paths, but a lot of security problems take place on the shortcuts. 1Password Extended Access Management is the first security solution that brings all these unmanaged devices, apps, and identities under your control. It ensures that every user credential is strong and protected. Every device is known and healthy, and every app is visible. 1Password Extended Access Management solves the problems traditional IAM and MDM can't. It's security for the way we work today, and it's now generally available to companies with Okta and Microsoft Entra, and in beta for Google Workspace customers. Check it out at 1password.com/XAM. That's 1password.com/XAM.
Today's episode is sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, also known as a VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, your internet service provider is storing your browsing data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-block content around the world. PIA comes with an easy-to-use app and browser extensions for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open-source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Mag. If you sign up with PIA right now, you can take advantage of a special deal only for GOG listeners. By using our link, gog.show/VPN, you can get complete digital privacy for less than $2 a month and 4 extra months for free, which means only $1.98 a month and up to 83% off. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days and see if you like it. If not, just return it for a full refund. So go to gog.show/VPN and try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. That's gog.show/VPN.
In the news...
Well, the big news in tech this week is Pavel Durov, the CEO of Telegram, who was arrested in an airport near Paris on Saturday as part of a preliminary investigation into the app's lax approach to moderation and failure to curb criminal activities, according to Reuters, which cited the French news outlet BFM TV and TF1. They are also reportedly being accused, well, the company is reportedly being accused of not cooperating with police. They released a statement. Telegram abides by EU laws, including the Digital Services Act. Its moderation is within industry standards and constantly improving, it said. So, yeah, this came out and everybody was kind of like, well, what the actual F? And then on Sunday afternoon, Telegram posted a statement to its official news channel and on X stating that CEO Durov has nothing to hide and that it is absurd to claim that a platform or its owners are responsible for abuse of that platform. Now, if there's one thing I've learned, Jason, is when an entity releases a statement saying that they have nothing to hide, they have shit to hide. They've got stuff to hide. So we've learned a little bit more since then. The French authorities have shared the reason why behind the arrest at this point, and it's not good. 12 charges in total, including money laundering, drug trafficking, fraud, running an online platform that allows illegal transactions, and possessing child pornography.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of back and forth about this. There's a lot of outcry, and I was kind of there initially as well. I was like, I don't know how you hold the CEO personally responsible for a company. If anything, you fine the company. Lots of money, not just coffee money. This is the way you go about it. But when you get into he himself actually had child pornography, that's when it becomes a problem. And now I'm like, oh, okay, arresting him seems okay to me now.
Yeah, they actually filed the charges on him yesterday. Mm-hmm. Right. So he is out on bail, 500,000 euros.
Can't leave France.
He can't leave France. Yeah,
tough life.
You can't take his underpants out of France. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him because interesting.
Yeah, I mean, again, I agree with a lot of the people that were very upset about this, saying, you can't hold the CEO responsible for what a company does. You have to go after the company, and I do agree with that. But apparently, obviously, there might be stuff that he himself has done that is very not cool. So I'm not hashtag free Pavel along with everybody else these days. So yeah, hashtag let's let the process run and see what this guy has done, if anything.
Yeah, and this was a ticking time bomb on him. Even if he didn't have the CSAM thing going on, mm-hmm. The fact that it is such a Wild West, it's a Russian thing. So it's it is very popular in Russia. And so the thing about it is, it's like if France didn't get him, somebody was gonna, know.
Yeah, and you just have to look at like the Bitcoin exchanges, the cryptocurrency exchanges, and all of that too. So, what is the intention of your product? And if you are aware of the fact that it is basically being used for illegal activities, do you have culpability? And at some point, I think you do. So,
yeah. I mean, they've got their own cryptocurrency backend for buying things on the platform, and then you can take that out and move it to a different exchange and change it for actual real money, not the fake money. Yeah. So there's a lot of things going on there that even if they weren't illegal, they were sus. And like I said, this was going to happen at some point. They were going to Snowden, Assange him at some point. He wasn't getting out unscathed.
And of course, who's defending him? Snowden. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Indeed. Zuckerberg is in the news recently. This is a head shaker. He wrote a letter to basically a congressman saying that, hey, we're trying to be nice over here, and the Biden administration was mean to us, and they tried to censor us, and it's uncool, bro. Trying to figure out like what he's really trying to play at is a head scratcher. So he wrote this to Jim Jordan, who's a Republican from Ohio. Mm-hmm. trying to, basically curry favor with the Republicans. Don't know why. Haven't figured that one out yet.
Because the Republicans are against regulation. End of story.
Yeah, well, some of them are.
It's mostly about money, Jason. That's it.
Oh, it's always about money. Trying to follow the money on this one is what's really weird, because it totally backfired, because the people that hate Zuckerberg hate him more, and the people who didn't hate Zuckerberg hate him more now. So it just made no sense. And the thing is, he was saying the government tried to censor them, which they really weren't. They were asking him, because it is a private company, and they didn't censor him. They asked him nicely, maybe not so nicely. And he even says, ultimately, it was our decision whether or not to take down content. And it was his decision. So he's bitching about it, in this open letter, saying that, well, we were censored. No, you weren't. You did it yourself. So shut the fuck up and go back to being an asshole like you already were.
I love the fact that it's basically, we're going to stay neutral this election, but I'm going to write a Republican senator in an open letter saying that Democrats suck.
Exactly. What exactly is your
that
point
seems pretty
here?
neutral to me.
They had to have had meetings, Brian. Zuckerberg didn't just go into a ketamine-fueled rage and write this. That would be Elon. No, we'd have no idea why.
Zuckerberg actually talks to his lawyers first, unlike Musk. So.
Yeah, I'm curious, since Sheryl Sandberg is gone, what's really going on over there now? Because she was his guardrail and his, she was his Dick Cheney, So who's pulling the strings over there now?
Yes, she kept his dick chained.
Oh, nice one. Moving on.
Moving on. Uber has received its largest fine to date, with the Dutch Data Protection Agency issuing a £290 million, or about $324 million penalty to the rideshare company. They found that Uber took account details, taxi licenses, location data, photos, payment details, identity documents, and more from European drivers, and transferred them to servers at their U.S. headquarters for over 2 years. They didn't use any transfer tools. One would assume they just emailed them? I don't know. A decision that Dutch DPA has deemed caused inefficient protection. So GDPR protects the fundamental rights of people by requiring businesses and governments to handle personal data with due care, which would not include emailing them. Uber does not meet the requirements of the GDPR to ensure the level of protection to the data with regard to transfers to the U.S., and that is very serious, said in a Dutch accent.
Gasp.
Yes.
Gasp.
So that's a big fine. That's not coffee money.
No, especially for Uber.
Yeah.
It's not like they're profitable or anything.
Well, they had that one quarter, Jason.
They had that one quarter. Yep. I just want to know where they're still getting all this money from.
I don't know anymore. It's weird.
Yeah. They stocked up quite a bit.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. The NTSB has sent a team to investigate a California crash involving a Tesla semi. Hat tip to Mike on this one. I have not seen a Tesla semi on the road. Have you?
No, I have not.
You would know that
Cybertrucks.
Yeah, you would know a Tesla semi. They're very distinct looking, but they are on the road, and they've been on the road for quite a while now. And I did some investigating into the Tesla semi. I was going to say the cyber semi, but it's not that. So basically the long and the short of this one is there was on August 19th near Emigrant Gap, northeast of Sacramento, one of the semis went off the road, hit some trees, and caused the battery to go boom. The fire reached 1,000 degrees. Emitting toxic fumes, and continued to burn until the late afternoon, forcing firefighters to basically wait till it burned itself out.
Wow.
Yeah, these things get hot. So the NTSB is involved in this because they're trying to figure out how they can fix this in the future for firefighters. And they've made statements in the past to manufacturers of high voltage electric vehicles with these batteries and said that, hey, you guys need to give us some instructions on how to put this shit out. And basically Tesla's PR department just said they should pour a bucket of poop emojis on the fire and leave them the hell alone. But because there's really no way to deal with these things at this point.
Yeah.
Which
is exactly why they didn't want all those what were those hoverboards on airplanes for a while.
Oh yeah, those things were popping like it's hot,
Yeah.
So I did look at, like I said, I looked into these Tesla semis. They're actually kind of cool. because the driver's seat is in the center of the truck. So God forbid if you want a passenger, pick up a prostitute at the truck stop at 4 a.m. Like
it self-drives, man. You just lean back.
It doesn't self-drive though, Brian.
That's but all thing. Teslas, according to that blog post.
I think Tesla cars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no mention of self-driving capabilities on the website. There is lane keeping and adaptive cruise control and things like that, but they go out of their way not to say that they're self-driving in these semis, because I think that would open up a much bigger can of worms.
Yes, because there are a lot more regulations on trucks and shipping.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are. But it's kind of cool because the cockpit looks literally like a cockpit. You got the big screens up on either side with blind spot cameras, which, if I was driving next to a Tesla semi, I would actually feel a little safer than just a regular.
Yeah.
Because, but definitely not driving. I'd feel safer next to a Tesla semi than I would next to a Cybertruck. Let's just say that.
Agreed. Well, I was catching back up on some Canadian news as I'm back here. And if I wanted to snap up a Chinese EV, not that I would want to because I don't trust their batteries. I trust them even less than Tesla's batteries. But nope, not going to be happening. I have until October 1st, basically. And then Canada will impose a 100% tariff on electric vehicles built in China, which is basically identical to the one the White House established in the U.S. earlier this year. The surtax applies to electric cars, trucks, buses, and delivery vans, as well as some hybrid models. Canada will also charge a 25% tariff on Chinese steel and aluminum starting on October 15th. So you're welcome, Mr. Musk.
There you go. Yeah, seriously. I have not seen, I don't know of any Chinese EVs that come to mind.
Well, that's because
they're too expensive to get in. Yeah.
Well, they were just starting to get ready to ship them out, right? Apparently, they're all pretty good. If you do Google some reviews and stuff, and you'll see people going through these EVs, and they're made cheaper, they're cost a lot less, and they're pretty efficient. Now, God knows what the batteries are like, and again, regulations on building things and all that sort of stuff. So there could be very good reasons for these tariffs and attempts to kind of keep them out of the marketplaces over here for now, but. It's basically there's a reason Tesla has not done well in the Asian market.
Right. Probably because this tariff is like we're trying to repatriate the funds because all of these Chinese EVs were basically probably
stolen
our
tech.
Designs stolen, yes, from corporate espionage, and they're making the good stuff over there and trying to sell it back to us.
Yep.
So that seems like it's more plausible than anything else.
Yeah.
So we're basically seeing they're selling the next gen Teslas that Tesla hasn't been able to make yet because of the regulations here. So NFTs are starting to really hit the news this week, which is very interesting.
Trump released a new one, right? That was yeah. So got to fleece these people a bit more because it doesn't look like you're going to win the election. Get your money now.
See, I wasn't even going with him, but thanks for reminding me that he's back on the NFT trail. Great. Another reason not to buy any. Jonathan Mann, who's a musician known for creating a new song daily since 2013, is actually suing the U.S. Securities and Exchanges Commission over their approach to NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the SEC has been going after NFT providers, saying that they're unsecured or unregulated securities, mostly because of the stupid games that people were trying to make out of it.
Right.
All of them. I was going to name a few, but let's just say all of them. Jonathan is very upset because his music keeps getting kind of looped into this as part of the problem. Mm-hmm. And he's saying, look, this is one of the ways that I can actually make money as an artist, selling to fans that can give me money.
Mm-hmm.
And taking that off the table for me sucks. Honestly, it just sucks because we're not trying to do anything out of bounds. We're not making any stupid, cat things or shit like that. It's like, I'm selling you an NFT, a limited edition NFT of my song. We're not saying it's going to go up or down in value. It's just a way for fans to own a piece of my music and do whatever. I'm like, okay, that sounds fine to me. I see no problem with that.
Me either.
So, he filed suit. So they've got 60 days to respond to the lawsuit, and we'll see how that goes. But the SEC is kind of busy right now because this morning came across my news feed that remember our favorite place to buy NFTs, Brian? OpenSea?
OpenSea, yes.
Yes, OpenSea is basically they're going after the SEC is going after OpenSea. They've issued a Wells notice to OpenSea, and there's a lot going on over there right now. So this is opening old wounds. As you know,
I would be shocked to find out that OpenSea's business wasn't on the up and up.
Well, turns out.
Are you about to shock me, Jason?
I wasn't about to shock you. I was just going to say vapors. Yeah, it comes down to everything we've always talked about NFTs, Bit Bros, and the entire quote unquote industry behind it. They're just not very good people, and they do really shady shit. So, OpenSea CEO Devin Finzer wrote in a post that the company was shocked the SEC would make such a sweeping move against creators and artists, but they are ready to stand up to the fight. A Wells notice is typically one of the final steps before the SEC issues formal charges. So it lays out the framework and the regulatory arguments against them.
Well, twist my britches, Jason. Yeah. I do declare I am surprised.
Yeah. There's going to be more on this next episode, I'm sure, but this is just the first shot across the bow towards OpenSea. So I don't know if Jonathan has really poor timing or really great timing. We're going to see how this kind of plays out, but NFTs are back, baby. Just not the way that most people want them to be, who still probably are hodling their NFTs.
Right.
Hat tip to Vinny on this next one. I just got a chuckle out of this. Google Ireland. Yes, South Dublin County Council has denied Google Ireland planning permission for a new data center at Grange Castle Business Park, citing insufficient capacity in the electricity grid and a lack of on-site renewable energy. So, Brian, it turns out the United States isn't the only third world, first world country. So the proposed development, which would have been the third phase of Google's data center campus, including a 72,000 square meter facility with 8 data halls, and was expected to create 800 construction jobs and 50 operational jobs. 72,000 square meters of data center, and they're only going to have 50 people running it?
Well, let me tell you a little something about Ireland and tech companies, Jason.
The
reason that tech companies like to go to Ireland is because of the advantageous tax advantages that one gets in Ireland, basically not paying very much tax at all. However, as part of the requirement for that, you have to jump through many Irish hoops, some of which include a certain percentage of actual Irish employees, and 50 probably being the absolute minimum required for Google to have this operational center and get their tax benefits.
All right. What was there was a tech company that was above the Guinness Brewery. I think it was Creative Labs.
Oh, it might have been,
For some reason.
I haven't heard the name Creative Labs in years.
Well, that's because back then we had a lot of rewritable CDs, and they wrote some of the first CDR writing software, I believe, if memory serves.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, they also did some of the first sound bars and all, or not sound bars, but sound cards and all that sort of stuff.
That's it. Yeah. Yep.
Used to buy them all the time, put them in my PC.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something that Google might want to look into, although I'm not sure how much it's going to help in Ireland, which is perpetually rainy and cloudy. But if you have sun, this would be a good thing. And mark my words, the next time I fly over into Los Angeles, coming back from Toronto, given the sheer number of actual self-storage places there are in Los Angeles and the ever-present sun, if I do not see gazillions of solar panels winking off of every single public storage as I fly into Los Angeles, I'm going to be pissed. So this is pretty cool. A company, Electric, I guess is the trade agency, is reporting that a solar energy company is renting 8.5 million square feet of roof space from the National Storage Affiliate Trust, conveniently called the NSA, buildings for its newest solar panel project. So they own a whole bunch of public storage facilities. And basically, this company is going, all right, we'll rent your roof space. We want to stick solar panels across all of them. This is across 42 states and Puerto Rico, and it's expected to produce at least 100 megawatts of solar capacity. Pretty fucking great idea. I like this a lot. So they will not just generate power for the facilities themselves, the panels will also provide clean power to nearby businesses and homes at a discounted price. Win-win as far as I'm concerned.
Look, there's 450 self-storage places within a 12-square block radius of my home.
And the sun basically sits right atop Woodland Hills.
Yes, and do you know what do you know what our electricity bill was last month? Our last electricity bill, Brian? Take a guess.
It's got to be massive because you've got to have the AC on 24/7.
Take a guess.
$500.
$1,700.
Jesus H Christ.
That's why I need Riverside to send me my fucking payout.
You also need this. You need this company to put solar panels on the storage place right next to your house so you can get it cheaper.
That's why I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Brian. Come on, people. Let's get to it.
Let's get moving on this. This is a no-brainer, people.
With Audible, there's more to imagine when you listen. Whether you listen to stories, motivation, expert advice, any genre you love, you can be inspired to imagine new worlds, new possibilities, new ways of thinking. And Audible makes it easy to be inspired and entertained as a part of your everyday routine without needing to set aside extra time. As an Audible member, you choose one title a month to keep from their ever-growing catalog. Be inspired to explore your inner creativity with Viola Davis's memoir, Finding Me. Find what piques your imagination with Audible. New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/imagine or text imagine to 500-500. That's audible.com/imagine or text imagine to 500-500.
Introducing Bluehost Cloud, ultra-fast WordPress hosting with 100% uptime. Want a website with unmatched power, speed, and control? Of course you do. And now you can have all three with Bluehost Cloud, the new web hosting plan from Bluehost. Not only is Bluehost Cloud our fastest web hosting available, but it's also built for WordPress creators by WordPress experts. With 100% uptime and incredibly speedy load times, your WordPress websites will be dependable and lightning fast on a global scale. Plus, your sites can handle even the biggest traffic spikes without going down or lagging. And with Bluehost Cloud, you get 24/7 WordPress priority support, meaning you're connected to WordPress experts anytime you need them. Not to mention, you automatically get daily backups and world-class security. So what are you waiting for? Get Bluehost Cloud today by visiting Bluehost.com. That's Bluehost.com.
Media Candy.
Brian, your talk about Ted Lasso in the last couple of weeks has been, they've been listening. It's fortuitous. They've heard the cry, Brian.
Apparently I got the soccer ball rolling.
Yeah, season 4 might be coming back. Now, this is still a might because everybody's reporting Ted Lasso season 4 is happening. It's not happening yet. What they're doing is they're tapping all of the cast they still have some contracts with and some they don't. They're trying to put the pieces together to put season 4 together. Surprisingly, though, Jason Sudeikis has not said anything yet. And he's the linchpin, but he must have given some kind of nod because they wouldn't be doing this without it.
That's
but
true.
We are going to see if this comes to fruition. Unfortunately, Jamie will not be.
Yes, Phil Dunster, who played Jamie Tart, will not be able to come back. He's already committed to other shows.
But some cameos. He might do some cameos.
I have mixed feelings about this, having just rewatched the entire 3 seasons. Season 3,
yeah.
It was fine, but there's no, season 1 and 2, they caught some lightning in a bottle there, and I don't know about this. I can't possibly see it being as good. I just can't. This is one of those ones where I think I would, if I were them, if I were Brett or if I were Jason Sudeikis, I would take the win, take the bow, and walk away.
Well, what they're speculating is it's going to be more about the side characters and not so much about Ted. So,
yeah.
Again, I don't know how I feel about that either.
That was part of the big problem with season 3. There was that whole arc with whole arc that had nothing to do with the soccer team or Ted that just failed miserably. And I don't know. No, I would rather they didn't do this personally. And
it's kind of like saying, "Hey, would you like another season of Game of Thrones?" No, I wouldn't.
No, I don't. Yeah. Speaking of things that I'd rather people wouldn't do, the Gallagher brothers have finally gotten back together. It is definitely not a maybe. Oasis are reuniting for a UK and Ireland tour that could be one of the most lucrative ever, with tickets being hyped as the hottest of the decade. Yes, old people are getting their Taylor Swift.
Okay, I never liked Oasis.
I'm not a big fan either. It is my wife's favorite band.
I'm sorry.
We are going to be spending so much fucking money. It's going to be sick. One question people are asking is why. The most obvious motivation is money, which will be coming out of my pocket and into the Gallagher brothers. They have had somewhat successful solo careers. I mean, they can do no wrong in England anyways, so, whatever. But Birmingham City University estimate that the initial 14 dates announced could bring in £400 million in ticket sales and other add-ons, with Liam and Noel both in line to net £50 million each. They've never monetized that nostalgia on the scale, he added. They'll probably make more money from these gigs than they did in the entire 90s. And I would like to remind everybody, in the 1990s, we bought CDs for $19.95.
Yeah, no shit.
And they made a lot of money.
So I'm guessing they're not on Universal. You can't get free tickets.
They are not on Universal. Yes, we have. She is signed up for the ticket lottery. We are up at 3 a.m. on Friday evening when tickets go on sale.
Oh my
God!
In the UK. You guys have to do it like the unwashed masses. How sad!
It's so demeaning.
all that music industry juice, and you got to get up like the rest of us.
We have as much music industry experience as this podcast has tech experience in combined years, and we're fucked. We get nothing. Well, people that do know how to call it quits, the Grand Tour has reached the end of the road. September 13th, we'll see the final episode of the Grand Tour. Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May. One last time. I will watch it just out of nostalgia. And for many fans, the time spent watching the trio goes back to the early 2000s. This is when we start to feel really old, Jason. When they formerly hosted Top Gear. Like, the year 2000 still feels like 5 years ago to me, but okay. Whatever.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
So they've been hosting car shows together for a period spanning 22 years. The final episode of the Grand Tour starring the trio will be streamed on September 13th. It will be a one-off special, and there is a teaser trailer out now. It doesn't look great, but whatever. I'll watch the last one because I love Top Gear. Never really cared much. The first Grand Tours were okay-ish. I don't know.
I tell you what, it peaked at the intro for the first Grand Tour. When they were in the desert and all the people and everything, and like a little tear fell up out your eye, like they're back. And then they failed miserably.
I think like when they gave up on the show format and they did the first of like the big specials, that the first one or two of those were pretty good, but then it was diminishing returns. So
the same joke over and over again was the problem.
Yeah, it really is. So I found that Clarkson's Farm was much more engaging than any of the stuff. I never got into the other two shows. Richard Hammond has The Great Escapist with him and Tony Belleci from Mythbusters, and James May
the most unloved Mythbuster.
And James May has Our Man In, a travel show, but James May by himself is very boring. So yeah,
it really is that boring. It was. I watched like one episode of him in Japan, and I was just like,
you made Japan boring. How do you do that?
How do you do that? I'm like, that's the one country I always wanted to go to, and now you've sullied the whole thing. Oh, yeah. This will be interesting. They worked together for 22 years. Brian, you and I have worked together for 11, and we have had nowhere near the success. I don't know what it is.
We started with our Grand Tour phase. We're hoping to get to our Top Gear phase, Jason.
Shit.
Yeah.
God damn it. We never had a Stig. We never had a Stig.
We need a Stig. Isn't Bittner our Stig?
Kind of, I guess. Where is he? He's not here today.
I don't know.
Damn it. Hat tip to Barrett on this one, because he was the first person to send this to me out of the several thousand that followed. Martin Shkreli is back in the news, and he must surrender his Wu-Tang Clan album copies. Yes, former pharma exec and still one of the most loathsome humans to be shat into existence, Martin Shkreli, must surrender his copy of Once Upon a Time in Shaolin that he made when he wasn't supposed to illegally, following a federal judge's injunction. The NFT Collective, hey, and more NFT news, Pleaser DAO, DAO, great name. Current owners of the album sued Shkreli, alleging he kept unauthorized copies and planned to release them, violating court orders. So, yes, he has been known to play little bits here and there on his Discord channel or his Twitch channel or whatever channel he's on this day. So he finally got busted. So he's got until August 30th to declare he's handed over all copies, and until September 30th to disclose any distribution details and profits. So,
okay,
there you go. let's see if he does it. He's such a twat. I don't know if he will or not.
He is. Just take a job with X and call it a day.
Seriously.
All right. I've got an early morning on a plane edition of Media Candy for me, flying back from Los Angeles to Toronto. I watched Wonka.
And
it was surprisingly good.
Oh, okay.
It took me a long time to kind of get over Timothée Chalamet. I don't like the guy. # not my Paul Atreides. # not my Willy Wonka. But once I was able to kind of meld into it, and I have to admit, he did a phenomenal job. He personified it. There was some definite I actually teared up a couple points. It was good.
Oh my God.
It was really good.
Oh my God.
I liked it. I did like it a lot. And I've got to say, Hugh Grant as the grumpy Oompa Loompa, fucking chef's kiss. It was awesome.
Okay. I might have to check it out.
Yeah, it's worth the watch. It's surprising. I was surprised. I was legitimately surprised. I went into it expecting to hate it, and I came out of it actually quite enjoying it. So,
all right.
Then I went back to the Apple TV Plus Air Canada crossover event that's going on, where they stream the first 3 episodes of all their shows that they've got going on because it was slim pickings. I watched Palm Royale because it looked somewhat interesting. It's about Palm Beach high society. It's got an amazing cast. These women are all phenomenal. Not for me.
Okay.
Not
it seemed
for
like
you.
a poor man's White Lotus.
Less interesting than that. I mean, it's all. This is made for women, for sure.
Oh,
my wife might really enjoy this. I do not. But Allison Janney does. I mean, she's the star of this for sure. She's the star of everything that she's in.
Yeah, I was going to say, she just has to show up. She's fine.
Yeah, she shows up and she's amazing. And she was amazing in this, but it's just not enough for me to watch any more of that. And then I watched Steve Martin, a documentary in 2 pieces. Now, this ends up being almost 4 hours long. So I watched a bit of it on the plane and I finished it at home. Steve Martin is a compelling, interesting, strange man. And this documentary is well worth the watch. It's really interesting. He's a national treasure in his own weird ass fucking way.
Yeah, I really like Steve. His autobiography was awesome. I just still can't watch Only Murders in the Building, but I like Steve. So.
Yeah. So the great documentary, well worth watching.
Yep, we've got some Starfleet Academy news. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're in production. They had their first table read, and there is a picture over on X. So there's a link to that in the show notes. Mm-hmm. And they're saying it looks pretty good. And here's the fun part. I didn't realize that Robert Picardo was back in the show. I must have missed the news, or I forgot that we covered it. Right. But, he was the doctor on Voyager. Yep. I don't know how his, he was a hologram. I don't know.
Hologram doctor. Teaching.
Yeah, but he aged since then. So
learned professor style.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess they will age his avatar as well. Either way, or maybe they'll play him as the actual person it was based on. But no, they can't do that because the timeline wouldn't work.
No, it would not.
No, would not work at all. So, and speaking of Robert Picardo, he just won the day because Elon Musk twatted out or shatted out or whatever you call it now. He said, "Let's make Starfleet Academy real." And Robert Picardo writes back, "First step, support a leader that embodies Starfleet values like diversity, inclusion, and ethical behavior." Mic drop. Boom.
Zing. Bazinga, as it were. Yes, that was very good.
Yeah. So unfortunately, to find this, I went back to go get my own screenshot up to make sure it was real because somebody sent a screenshot and I'm like, okay, is that real? I had to go through some of Elon Musk's tweets and I read them, but I didn't read the tweet so much as I read the actual replies from the people who follow him. Now, Brian, I do believe that Elon has been indoctrinated and radicalized by his own platform.
Oh,
because the shit that these people are fucking saying to him, if that's your world, if that's what you're seeing on a day-to-day basis and just that, you think that you are the king of the world.
Yes.
It is insane.
Yes, people are nuts.
Have you read any of these?
It's one of the reasons I don't do X anymore. It is just a fucking shitstorm of Elon sucking.
But I had no idea it was that bad.
It's horrible.
Oh my God. Yeah, no wonder he's insane. Yeah. There's literally no wonder that he's insane now.
Well, this is why he bought it. This is the only reason. It's a pure ego stroke.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Good news.
By the time you hear this, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, one of the most confusing titles known to man, will have returned to Amazon. It returns Thursday, August 29th. And there is a link in the show notes to a Gizmodo recap, everything to remember before Rings of Power returns. I enjoyed the first season. I highly recommend reading this because I forgot absolutely everything that happened.
Okay. I was waiting for this season to come out before I watched season 1 because I got like 2 episodes into season 1.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, because, everybody did say it was kind of slow. So
it was, but, it looks beautiful and, it's, I liked it.
Okay.
So,
okay. I heard this season's kind of slow too, though. So that doesn't bode well.
Yeah. Well, it looks beautiful.
I do watch TV right before I go to bed, so maybe it will be maybe it'll help put me to sleep.
There you go.
All right. I saw a trailer this week for Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. Now, if you want a good cry in the middle of the day, just watch this trailer.
I still think it's too soon.
I know. It feels like yesterday. I don't know if anyone later than Gen X is going to be affected as much as, we would.
No, probably not. But
yeah, because you didn't know him. He wasn't your Superman. Oh my God. Yeah. No, it was a rough watch.
Yeah.
It was really rough. I had to turn it off like before the end because I'm going to watch it when it comes out. But right now it's only in theaters on September 21st and September 25th. But we'll definitely watch this when it comes out. And oh my God, will I buy a lot of tissues before I start?
Yeah, I'll watch this when it comes out on streaming as well. # always my Superman. # Henry Cavill was pretty good too.
Yeah, he was decent.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, here's just in a little bit more fun old news. Gary Newman is actually 13 days older than Gary Oldman.
That meme has been bouncing around forever, and every time I see it, it makes me laugh.
Yeah, I've never seen it before, so I did the fact checking to make sure. It's like, yep, it really is. 2 of my favorite people.
Ups and doodads.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Brian.
I think you and I were in a rush to get this one in the notes. You fucking beat me.
Yeah, I know. As soon as it popped up on my feeder, I'm like, gotcha. It slammed it in here. Plaud. There's a company called Plaud to start with, Plaud. They're introducing a new AI-powered note pin. Yes. Another thing that you stick on your lapel that records everything. The company's CEO, Nathan Su, envisions using the gathered data from the pin to create digital twins of users in the future, capturing personality and preferences over time. Okay. Yeah, it's another fucking pin.
Yep. Right. Yeah. Good luck.
This one will cost you $169, and it records up to 300 minutes of audio per month. To record more than that, you can pay a $79 annual fee for the Pro plan that gets you 1,200 minutes per month and additional features like labels that identify different speakers in a transcription. Critics argue that AI systems like this may not yet match the accuracy and effectiveness of existing tools, or that it's another fucking dumbass idea. Ugh.
Yeah. You're in trouble when every single review of your new product basically says, but you can already do this with things you already have in your pocket.
Yeah, which I would like to point out here. On my watch, I have an app called Just Press Record. It costs $4.99 and works extraordinarily well, even from the watch, to record a conversation with anybody that is in the room. The microphones on the Apple Watch are really good. So you take Just Press Record, and it will do a transcription in the app for you. This costs $4.99, and there's no time limit on how much you can do. And there you go. And if you don't like the transcriptions on it, they'll get a free copy of Mac Whisper, if you have a Mac, and you can run it through any of the large language model transcription services, or not services, but transcriptions, and get a much better one for free. So there.
Yeah.
There you have it. So yeah, just get those if you want something that honestly doesn't make you look like a twat because you've already got an Apple Watch. So, everybody's got those. You can blend into the crowd, and Just Press Record just works, and there's no big bright light saying it's working. So it just sits in the background. If you want a spy tool, just make sure that you know your local laws, because recording people without their knowledge in some states, like California,
illegal,
can be a felony.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Make sure your state is a one-party state. In two-party states, you can get in trouble.
Is it consent if you look at it and you can see it and you know it?
No, it's
No,
not.
it is not.
No, it's not.
Same thing with the Google glasses. That was part of the problem.
I think that might be because there was a red light on the glasses. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But you were just a twat if you wore Google glasses.
Nobody would talk to you anyways.
So. Yeah, we didn't get to that part. We didn't get to the litigation phase of that. The public humiliation did its job. All right, AI Corner. AI Corner for this week, Brian. We've got an article from Stephen Wolfram called What's Really Going On in Machine Learning? Some Minimal Models by Stephen Wolfram. Now, this article discusses the inner workings of machine learning by examining simple models to better understand how neural networks function. This is a very long article. It takes you about a half an hour to read it.
You're telling me Stephen Wolfram wrote a long article, Jason?
Yeah, seriously.
Might as well be Neil Stephenson.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it is. If you want to feel dumb, then check this article out. It is fascinating from what I could understand.
Right.
I tried to understand it. I felt like I was smarter when I was done. I couldn't tell you anything that I learned from it, but I felt superior. So, because I read a Stephen Wolfram article. If you're feeling masochistic, you can read What is ChatGPT Doing and Why Does It Work? And a follow-on article, which will take you around 75 minutes to read. If you really want to kind of try and understand how these things work, what you do learn from these is that it doesn't work the way you think it works, and it is not actually intelligent in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, which is, I took a course to try to figure all that out, and that's kind of what I came away with as well. So yeah, and there's a bunch of articles going around this week too that kind of it seems to be like a tipping point where people are finally coming out and saying in the media that these things aren't really that smart. It is what it is. Now, Andy Jassy, I love this. One of the most tedious but critical tasks for software development teams is updating foundational software. It's not new feature work, and it doesn't feel like you're moving the experience forward. As a result, this work is either dreaded or put off for more exciting work, or both. Amazon Q, our Gen AI assistant for software development, is trying to bring some light to this heaviness. We have a new code transformation capability, and here's what we found when we integrated it into our internal systems and applied it to our needed Java upgrades. Here's what he says. The average time to upgrade an application to Java 17 plummeted from what's typically 50 developer days to just a few hours. Okay, now remember that. We estimate this has saved us the equivalent of 4,500 developer years of work. Yes, that number is crazy, but real, he says. In under 6 months, we've been able to upgrade more than 50% of our production Java systems to modernized Java versions at a fraction of the usual time and effort. And our developers shipped 79% of the auto-generated code reviews without any additional changes. The benefits go beyond how much effort we've saved developers. The upgrades have enhanced security and reduced infrastructure costs, providing an estimated $260 million in annualized efficiency gains. Okay. So he's saying that they have a new tool that will upgrade old shit. Yes. Okay. And he says this is a great example of how large-scale enterprises can gain significant efficiencies in foundational software hygiene work by leveraging Amazon Q. It's been a game changer for us, and not only do our Amazon teams plan to use this transformation capability, but more. But our Q team plans to add more transformations for developers to leverage. Okay, great. Now, the next article I have is, do users write more insecure code with AI assistance? The answer is absolutely. So coming on the heels of this, we have Andy Jassy saying that Amazon Q, their tool, writes more secure code and saves you a bunch of time. And Stanford University, where I'm guessing most of the engineers that work on Amazon Q came out of, says that overall, we find that having access to the AI assistant often results in more security vulnerabilities across multiple questions. The AI assistant often does not choose safe libraries, uses libraries properly, understand the edge cases of interacting with external entities such as a file system or a database, and here's importantly, it does not correctly sanitize user input, which is the cornerstone of any web-facing application, is sanitizing user input. Very important.
Very, very important. So we have Andy's, you go, rah, rah, rah. We're doing really good here. And we have Stanford saying, hold it up there, cowboy. Not exactly what you think it's going to be. So I'm sure that a lot of these things are pretty easy to have a transformation from an old version to a new version, because it's just a lot of times it's just, switching functions and parameters and things like that, and just, keeping track of what's doing what. So I can see how that can be a boon in some places, but you still have to go through every single line of code to make sure the damn thing still works.
Mm-hmm.
Is it writing its own unit tests and running those unit tests? Possibly. I don't know.
Maybe.
I haven't checked out Amazon Q. I don't plan on checking out Amazon Q because I don't like Java. Never liked Java. Did you ever write Java? It sucks.
Hell no. It's horrible.
It's a terrible language. Terrible. It's a terrible language. Now, another report from the University of Pennsylvania reveals that most AI text detectors aren't as reliable as advertised. No shit, Sherlock.
Yes, we've talked about this. This is part of the problems with copywriting systems and all of that. You can jig the system.
Yeah. A couple of quick find and replaces and you're off to the races. Mm-hmm. Researchers found that simple tricks like inserting unusual symbols can fool these systems. Some detectors excel in specific content types, such as student essays, but struggle with others like news articles. Of course, AI detectors can even mistakenly identify human written text as AI generated. Of course it can, because it's trained on human written text.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to come up with new benchmarks for it. But all in all, no. And another thing in the news this week is model collapse.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about it. There are a couple different names for it. One is model autophagy disorder, which is a mouthful and obviously written by somebody who's never had any marketing experience. Now, this other researcher, Jathan Sadowski, he dubbed the phenomenon, which is better, Habsburg AI, a reference to the Europe's famously inbred royal family. That guy's got class. I like that guy.
I love that. Yeah.
Yep. So there's a bunch of articles we linked in the show notes that talk about basically model collapse and how it is coming faster than we thought. That is the long and the short of it is we knew it was going to be here because these things use the web to train themselves, but people have embraced AI technology so quickly that they're just pushing this shit out hand over fist, and it is pissing in the well. And now it's just, there's going to be problems.
We've got an AI centipede.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. Now, I have two final articles that you're going to have to go click on to check out because they're both visual. But this is what AI, as far as I can tell, is good for. The first one is Marty McFly goes back to the time of Jesus to warn him of what's about to happen to him.
Great Scott.
You have to watch the whole thread because it is fucking hilarious. Seriously, just go check it out. It's a Reddit thread, and it is beautiful. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. And the second is what could be hat tip to Fogarty on that one. He sent that over to me. And the next one, hat tip to Mark Andre. He was the first out of millions to send this one over. What could be better? Muppets, Mad Max, and AI. This is a short Furiosa inspired Muppets AI movie that is disconcerting and reminds me to never take acid again.
Yes. I agree.
Closing shout outs.
Over at Patreon, we've got Gilbert. Welcome back, Gilbert.
Thank you. Over at PayPal, we've got Charlie and Simon.
And over at the tip jar, we've got Adam. So it's a light week. So just a quick reminder, over at Patreon, if you sign up for just $3 a month, you can give us more if you want, but minimum $3 a month. You can get every episode of the show a little bit early. Since we're recording at 6:30 in the morning, the day before we usually do it, it'll probably be really early this time. And ad-free and in high res. Woo!
There you go. Woohoo!
Yep. And no reviews this week, Brian. We haven't had a review in a while.
That's good. Yeah. Got some spam. Some spam came through in our reviews. Yeah. Some ad for something or other. Yeah.
Differential transmission spam or something like that. Jim wrote in, though, fellow grumpy old geek here, IT since 88, just had to share that at least some of the public school cybersecurity education is working. I was listening to your show in the car the other day with my 13-year-old son in the front seat. He saw your cover art on the podcast player, pointed at it, and said, "That's not secure." I said, "What?" He said, "HTTP. They should be using HTTPS." Grump on. So he's referring to the fact that for some reason last week, our podcast host did not pick up the show art that I so lovingly uploaded. I went back and fixed it. But originally when the show went out, it got the stock Grumpy Old Geeks show art, which actually has our URL at the bottom. And in the old days, when I made that like 7 or 8 years ago, it was before HTTPS everywhere. I used http://gog.show. So
yes, it used to not matter if you weren't taking money.
Yeah. So I'll get on that. Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah,
Jim.
we'll fix that old show artwork from 7 years ago any day now.
Yeah, I'm gonna get right. I'm gonna get right on it. And this final one that I just love this. NSA releases copies of internal lecture delivered by computing giant Rear Admiral Grace Hopper. It's like a 2 hour or hour and a half speech that she did in 1982 called she was Captain Grace Hopper. This is back when she was a captain. Grace Hopper on future possibilities, data, hardware, software, and people. It's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. She was one of the early developers of COBOL and one of the first programmers of the Harvard Mark I computer. She's very cool. Smart and very cool. Yep. So go check that out. One of the legends in computing. And just a quick reminder, go to soberoutfitters.com if you have anybody in recovery, or if you're in recovery, and go buy a shirt, please, or 5. I need it because Riverside isn't paying out, and you heard about my electric bill. So God damn it, go buy something. Until next time, I'm Jason DeFilippo.
And I'm Brian Schulmeister. Thanks for tuning in to Grumpy Old Geeks. Dive into the show notes and all the links from today's episode at gog.show/663. Feeling generous? Keep this top-notch entertainment rolling by dropping us a few bucks at gog.show/donate. Every bit helps. Spread the grumpiness. There's a share button in every podcast player out there, including Overcast. I checked. Use it to share the show with friends, foes, and everyone in between, and we'll be forever grateful. Head over to gog.show to find the link to our Discord channel and chat with us and other show fans. Got something to say? Send your feedback, comments, or awesome links to https/:. Wait. Yeah. No,
can't even do a URL anymore. Jesus.
It's been a long time. gog.show/contact. Show us some love. Leave a review at gog.show/review. A 5-star rating might just get your review read on the air. Stay grumpy and pedantic about URLs.
Today, I've got a treat for all you Apple users out there. It's the Mac Geek Gab podcast. Now in its 17th year, this show is your go-to source for tips, cool stuff found, and answers to all your Apple-related questions. Every week, hosts Dave Hamilton and John F. Braun dive into the world of Apple, offering tech support to listeners just like you. And the best part? They make sure every answer comes with actionable tips that are easy to follow. For example, did you know that if you press and hold the mute button during a call on your iPhone, it'll actually put that call on hold? Or that you can easily bulk rename files in the Mac's Finder by highlighting multiple items and choosing File Rename? These are just a couple of the many nuggets of wisdom you'll pick up from Mac Geek Gab. If you use an iPhone, a Mac, an iPad, an Apple Watch, an Apple TV, or are simply a technology enthusiast, you're going to love learning more about your technology with your 2 new favorite geeks over at Mac Geek Gab. Get your questions answered and have some fun along the way. Visit MacGeekGab.com or search for Mac Geek Gab on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't get caught without having Mac Geek Gab in your rotation.